Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this video, I'll show you how to create this custom list using HTML and CSS. So here we can see that we have this number and we have this image as the color of the number. And then we have some information about the point. And then we have another number over here, and this is also completely responsive. So if you decrease the width of the browser window, this is how it will look on smaller screens. We have a different layout. So in this video, I'll show you how to design this from scratch using HTML and CSS. So let's get started. Right here, I have created this folder called Modern List, and I just opened it with VS Code. And I also have this folder called Images over here. In that we have these three images which we're going to use in our design. So let's go ahead and create the necessary files. I'll just create a new file called index.html. Let's create another file called style.css. Let's start with the index.html file. So in VS Code, you can just type exclamation and press tab, and you'll have this basic HTML5 code. Let's link our CSS file over here. And let's start with the markup of our design. So the first thing we will do is we'll create a container division. So let's create a division with the class of custom list. Now in this custom list, we need to have different list items. So these are list items. This is one list item. Then we have another list item. So let's create a division for that. I'll just create a division with the class of list item. And in this list item, we need to have two elements. One is the number and the other is this info. So let's go ahead and create a division with the class of number. And in the number, the first one is 01. So let's tap 01 over here. And after the number, we need to have the info. So let's create a division with the class of info. And in this info, we need to have a heading and a paragraph. So let's create an S3 for the heading. And let's copy this text from here. And let's paste it over here. And let's create a paragraph. And I'll just copy this text. And let's paste it over here. So that's basically it with the list item. Let's go ahead and copy this and paste it 2 more times. And for the second one, let's go ahead and change this number to number 02. And let's change the heading. So let's copy this and I'll just paste it over here. And let's change the info. I'll just copy this and let's paste it over here. And then we have number 3. So let's change this to number 3. And let's change the heading. And let's change the paragraph. So let's copy this and let's paste it right here. So with that, we have completed writing the HTML of our design. Now let's open this in our browser and let's see how it looks. So I have this extension called Live Server installed in VS Code. So if you have this installed, you can just right click over here in the HTML file and click on Open with Live Server. And here we can see that our content is displayed in the browser. Now let's go ahead and style this using CSS. So let's go to a style.css file and let's start by styling the container division, which is a division with the class of custom list. So let's type .custom list. And first of all, let's set the font family to Roboto and sans serif. And let's add a max width over here and let's set it to 700 pixels. And let's bring it to the center. So I'll just tap margin. And for top and bottom, I'll just tap 32 pixels. And for left and right, let's tap auto. And now we can see that it is in the center. Let's also add some padding to the left and the right so that it will look good on smaller screens. So let's tap padding 0 for top and bottom and 30 pixels left and right. And let's also set the display to flex and the flex direction to column. And now we can go ahead and add some gap between these list items. So if I just type a gap of, let's say 50 pixels, now we can see that we have this gap over here. For now, I'll just remove this gap. And let's start styling the other elements. Now let's go ahead and style this list item. So the list item is the division inside the custom list. So we need to have this number and the info one next to the other. So let's target the list item. So let's type list item. Let's set the display to flex and align items to the center. And now we can see that these two elements are one next to the other. Now for the alternate list items, we want to flip the sides. So we want to have this number on the right side for the second one. So let's do that. Let's go over here and let's tap list item, colon nth of type, and here let's tap even. So it will target the even number of list items. So it will target 2, 4, and so on. So here let's tap flex direction and let's set it to row reverse. So now if you go back here, we can see that the number is on the right side over here for the even elements. Right now let's go ahead and style this number. So let's type list item number. We have this division with the class of number, and let's set the font family of the number to Poppins and sans serif, and let's set the font weight to bold, and let's set the font size to 200 pixels, and let's add a padding of 0 top and bottom, 30 pixels left and right. Right now the next thing we need to do is we need to change the color of these numbers. We need to change it to this image. So for that we need to go ahead and first of all let's set the color to transparent, and now we cannot see the number. Now we need to add a background image, so let's type background and let's set it to URL, and let's set the URL to images / and the first one is AI, and let's set it to no repeat and center. And now if you go back here, we can see that we have the complete background displayed over here. We need to display just the areas of the text. So for that you have to type background clip of text, and now we can see that we have the color just for the text. Let's also go ahead and set the background size to cover. Now for some browsers you need to type WebKit background clip and set it to text. And now we can see that all the three numbers have the same image. We need to change the images. So for the second one we have a different image, and for the third one we have an image of network. So let's change that. For that let's go back to the HTML and let's add classes for these. So for the number 1 let's type number 1 as the class. For the second number let's type number 2 as the class, and for the third one let's type number 3 as the class. Now let's go ahead and style these numbers. So let's type list item number 1, and for that let's copy this background URL. I'll just cut it from here and paste it right here. And now if you go back, we have the image for the first number. Let's copy this and paste it down 2 more times. For the number 2, let's change the image to images / quantumcomputing.jpg, and for the third one let's change this to images / 5g.jpg, and we also need to change this to number 3. And now we can see that we have the correct background images for the text. Right now let's go ahead and style this heading. So we have an S3 inside the custom list, so let's type custom list S3, and let's set the margin to 4 pixels, top and bottom 0 for left and right, and let's set the font size to 20 pixels. And now we need to have this line on the left side. So for that we'll go ahead and set the position of this S3 to relative, and we'll go ahead and add a before selector. So let's type custom list S3 : before, and let's add a content, and if we just type some text over here, we can see that the text is displayed in front of all these S3s. Now we don't want to display the text, so let's remove this, and let's set the position of this before selector to absolute. Now it will be positioned relative to this S3, and let's go ahead and set the left position to 0 and the top position to 0, and let's set the height to 100% of the S3, and let's set the width to 6 pixels and background color to red, and let's add some padding left for this S3. So here let's tap padding left, and let's set it to 16 pixels, and with that we have styled our S3. Now for the paragraph, let's add a line height so that it has some space between the lines. So let's tap custom list P, and let's set the margin to 12 pixels, top and bottom 0 for left and right, and let's set the line height to 1.7, and let's set the font size to 16 pixels, and let's also add an opacity of 0.7. So that's it with the paragraph, and with that we have styled our custom list, so everything looks alright. Right now let's go ahead and make this responsive. So let's go back and let's add a media query. So let's type at media, max width of 700 pixels, and let's tap custom list, and let's set the max width to 500 pixels when we are on smaller screens. And we need to change the layout of this list item. So let's tap list item, and let's set the flex direction to column. Now for the second one, which is the event list item, we don't have the correct styling, so for that we need to copy the selector of that as well. So let's copy this, and let's go ahead and paste it over here. I'll just add a comma and paste it over here. And now we can see everything looks alright on smaller screens, and if you take a look at larger screens, everything looks alright over here as well. So that's basically how you can create this custom list using HTML and CSS. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below, and if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.